Welcome, everybody. My name is Marcella Ravito from Emerasoft. Today I'm really glad to present this international webinar dealing with Polarion connectors developed by Emerasoft. These connectors were developed for Polarion software for real needs of our customer. So I hope they will be useful for you too. Two guys from Emerasoft will help me. They are Simone and Gian Giacomo. As you see, this is the agenda. The first part of the webinar will be about the connectors. The connectors are EAPO, the connector Polarion to Enterprise Architect, PJ, that connects Polarion to Jenkins or Hudson, and FARO, an application for Polarion and Subversion monitoring. The second part will be in Italian and will be about Polarion 2013 best features. For this part and for English audience, I will suggest a link of a past webinar that was managed by Polarion. But let's go. Okay, some hints about the platform we are using today. I remember you that you are in mute, but you can communicate with us thanks to the chat or the Q&A pop-up. If you don't hear me, you cannot hear me, so I hope you will read this slide. Okay, just something about Emerasoft. Emerasoft is a very long years partner in Italy for Polarion. We deal with two main divisions. The application lifecycle management that deals with requirement management and quality assurance and test management too. And another soul we can see that is about digital asset management. Nili is our publishing and e-publishing division that deals with workflow publishing management. We also do training and consulting about dealing with these two departments, and we also participate in open source projects and so on. As you can see, we are different partners in all over the world. Polarion is our partner in HLM. Then we deal also with the Italian community of configuration management, dealing with both Git and Subversion. Okay, now I can present you Gian Giacomo that will speak to you about the first connector.
Okay, thank you, Marcella, for this introduction. Today I will present you the EAPO. This is our enterprise access to Polarion connector. The story of this plugin is made because basically Spark System distributed enterprise architect that is one of the best tools for design and visual modeling, and everything is based on ONG UML. So last year, in 2011, we developed the first integration that was basically in EAPO 1.0. It was a free version and was a big success, let me say. More than 100 customer feedback just in 1 year, more than 250 downloads, and more than 50 requests from potential fee customer. And for that I mean that this customer asked us for improvement, asked us to have some specific functionality that weren't covered in the free version. So now, this year, today, we have just released the EAPO version 2 that is now available. You can find it for a test on our website, on Emerasoft.com website, and of course also in the extension.polarion.com. This new plugin is has many additional features than in the first version. This table collects some benefits and feature metrics versus the previous version. Basically, the first version wasn't able to export the packages inside the enterprise architect structure. It wasn't able to selective export, so some specific elements were, everything was just exported in one shot. And in this version, you can select which elements are going to be exported. In this new version, you have also a preview mode that is very, very nice feature. Now the export is completely rewritten in a wizard, like very Windows-like mode, let me say. All the configuration are read from Polarion. So in the first version, the configuration was just stored inside the plugin itself, so everything was recorded. In this version, everything is read directly from Polarion. Then we had added a new local database to provide to you a better support for this. In this database, every activities will be logged in, and for support is absolutely a great feature. We also added the proxy functionality. That is absolutely important in big environment and so on. So all the other features that we had, like the possibility to export full tree for Enterprise Architect to Polarion, or to open Enterprise Architect inside Polarion itself, or the single element from Polarion to Enterprise Architect. Everything is absolutely the same that in the first version. So I would like to show you something in live mode. So I have to switch on my virtual machine. This is I would like to pick up my project. Okay, this is a simple Polarion project. The version of my Polarion is 2013, but basically our plugin is able to work with 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013 of Polarion. And also for the Enterprise Architect, we support from the version 8 to the version 10. Actually, I'm using the 9.2. And this template, this project, in this project, I just added some specific elements just to have a huge list of elements during my demo. But as I told you, every configuration I read directly from Polarion. So I expect that all these elements will be written directly inside my plugin during my export. Let me show you how to. Okay, I would like to switch on my Enterprise Architect. I have my project. This project is quite little, let me say, but have all the structure that are common in Enterprise Architect project. So basically, I have some schema, diagrams, some elements, some packages, and of course one model in this case, but I can also have more than one in the same place. To use the EAPO, it's sufficient to go to the extension, to click on the Polarion integration and click on the export to Polarion. A new window will appear, and in this window, the user will be asked to provide all the information to get the connection with the Polarion server through this plugin. So In my case, my server URL is just in my local machine, so I place as localhost. I can specify a different port or a different location of my SVN server URL. In this case, I will left everything untouched in this demo example. About my project ID, this is an important thing. My project ID is not just the name that I have in my project, but is the name that I have in my administration. So in this case, it's the same. By the way, I have to use this ID. So then I can switch back to my enterprise architect. I can place here my ID, then my username and my password. All this information that I am providing in this interface can be saved to be reused. If just I click here, say connection to reuse, in this drop-down menu will be stored all the information, but not a password for security reasons. So I can reuse this connection for next export. So if I click on test connection, plugin will test the connection with my server. Okay, it passes. So then the second step is to select a database to provide the mapping. This database is mandatory to have because all my elements that I have here in my enterprise architect project have some specific information, like an element is just a package, another one is a diagram, another one is an element that is a user and all the stuff like that. In my Polarion, I can have my work item definition that are specific for my project. So then, in this database, I have to provide a mapping between the elements. So in this case, I will create a new mapping here. I have to select the position to save my mapping. So then here, I can save it. Next. So then, this is the mapping window. From here, I can go to select my element. As you can see, the lines that are underlined with this orange are basically the elements that are exported in the first round that I did. So right now, I will select other elements. Like for example, I would like to export all my diagrams, like diagram in my Polarion. This way. This window asks me to provide to the system the same mapping for all the elements that have the same type, the same enterprise architect type, and eventually the same enterprise stereotype in my project. So if I press yes, all my diagram will be exported in the same way. In this interface, a really nice thing that we provided in this version is also the capability to export the target value in Enterprise Architect with the custom fields in Polarion. So, for example, for this element that is an actor, that inside it has some definition on the target value, I can select my, for example, actor, and I can get also the advanced mapping feature, where it's possible to get a list of all my target value, and I can map them into my Polarion custom field. All this information are dynamically read from my project. So both for my Polarion type, both for my custom field, and for my target value, everything is absolutely dynamic. So in this case, I would like to map it like a new, for example, owner. It's fine for me like that. Yes. Okay. So I can just map some other elements like this text. I would like to map it as component. One of the questions that usually people ask me is, am I forced to map the same enterprise architect type with a specific Polarion type? Absolutely no, this is the answer. So if you have some enterprise architect type as text, you can map it like a Polarion type, whatever you want. So in this case, I mapped it as component. Or, for example, you can, if you have a on rail, let me say, mapping, you can map it like node and node from this side. So then, now I will export the structure again. They take a bit of time, floating elements to be exported. Okay, in this case, the elements are 14, so as you can see from the logger, the system is collecting all the information, all the diagrams it's selected, and the element, this is the functionality that is able to take all the diagram and divide them in Polarion. Now if I switch on my Polarion, I have several elements here, but just 16 found. If I refresh it, I hope I get some more, 21, right? Exporting. These are my new elements exported. I should wait until the end of the process itself. The speed of the export is basically depending on the speed of your computer. Actually, I am on a virtual machine. Creating the second diagram. Third one. Okay, export done. So to get a better user experience, we provide inside this plugin to our report that is basically this page that you can see on my Enterprise Architect interface, where it's possible to see all the elements that have been exported in Polarion. So the main goal of this interface is the capability of the system to open directly Polarion in the Enterprise Architect interface. So this is just because to have only one environment to work. For example, if I would like to open a diagram from here, I can just click on the button open, and the Polarion will be open inside the Enterprise Architect. Of course, I have just to provide my grant to access. And then I can see finally my work item exported in my Polarion. that's my actor. As you can see, the information that are immediately available on my work item in my project are the title, are the type, of course, because of the mapping that I applied, is the link between the elements. This AA is just an e-being that basically is the same object that I have in my Oriba model here, and under that I have my diagram, and I have also my custom fields that are filled of all the information that I had in my standard object in Enterprise Architect. From here, I can also click on the link to open back my object in Enterprise Architect, and I have my object back. Okay. If you have questions, please write down on the Q&A panel. I will be happy to answer that at the end of the presentation. Now, I will grant the present to Simone Messina.
So, first of all, what is Jenkins? Jenkins is a web application that monitors executions of repeated jobs. Jenkins is used to build, execute test automation, and deploy source code. A job is simply a set of operations to perform one on a software project. Jenkins is an open source software. It is technology independent. In fact, you can manage your build with Maven, Ant, scripts, and many other technologies. It has also parametric jobs. So this means you can perform some action if the build is successful, or many other if the build failure. It works also with Git, Subversion, and many other source control management software. In fact, when a job starts, you can automatically check out the last version of source code and build it. It is also a distributed builds, and it is extendable with a lot of open source plugins. Write it in Java. The connector. PJ connector is a bidirectional tool between Polarion and Jenkins, of course, and you can use it in two ways, depending on the Jenkins job configuration. You can have a job configured manually to start manually, and or you can have a job start automatically. In this last way, the job can start with a cron expression or by polling a repository directory. It is already available on the POP at the link below. Well, this first scenario is when the job starts manually. So you can use a work item to drive your build, deploy, and test automation process. There is a work item status change that launch a Jenkins job. It can call the Jenkins job with some parameters in the work item configuration, such as job name, Jenkins servers, and so on. And then at the end of job, Jenkins can respond to Polarion, modifying the status of the work item or importing the test results as a test run in Polarion. The second way to use PJ is when you use Jenkins in continuous integration. In this case, jobs start with a cron tab or by polling, and at the end of job, Jenkins can contact Polarion, and again, it can create a test run with the test results or it can create a new work item. For example, if the build is a failure, you can create a defect or many other things. Okay, how to use PJ? You can manage your delivery process in Polarion and execute it in Jenkins. And you can automate tests in Jenkins and collect reports in Polarion. Polarion can be used as a data collector and Jenkins for the operative process, because Polarion is the boss, not the waiter. Okay, this is a use case. Image a company having PJ solution for the delivery process. This company can have Polarion to manage the development of a software product, and it can have some documents, requirements, tasks, all in Polarion. A new work item that they use to drive the build is created. It is in status open, and Polarion obviously is with a Subversion repository. Okay, they build their software in Jenkins with many jobs configured, and when the work item changes its status in start build, it can contact Jenkins, a particular job in Jenkins that will launch the build. Jenkins can download the source code from the repository, perform automated tests, and deploy the artifacts in an environment. For example, it can deploy in a test environment, on production, and so on. At the end of job, it can respond to Polarion with a test run, creating a test run with the test reports, and it can change the status of the work item. I will show you a live demo in my desktop. Well, okay, this is Jenkins. I have a list of jobs configured, and this is the one that I use for the demo. Okay, here we have the previously builds. In fact, Jenkins can save the previous build and store the results, but we can open the configure page of a job. So a job can be parameterized. In this case, I have a string parameter called work item URI, but we can also add some many parameters like boolean, strings, file, and so on. We can manage our source code from Subversion, CVS, and with many other technology. And here we have the build. In this case, I use a Maven build with these goals. So these jobs will perform an integration test with Selenium. So it will open Firefox and perform 3 tests. The first one tests the home page of Polarion. The second one tries to navigate many links. And the last one check the size of an image in Polarion. Here I have archive an artifact. Every word, every .war is archived in Jenkins. And then we have the configuration of PJ. The first part of configuration is related to the start of plugin. So you can specify a build result, for example, success, failure, unstable, and so on. Or you can specify a log text. This is a regular expression that Jenkins will search in the output console of the job. In this case, the job starts, if the build result is such as, or if this string is founded in the console output log. Here we have the Polarion server to call after the job build. And then we can have these three functions provided by PJ. The first one is to notify the work item. This will change the status of the called work item. And this is the ID of workflow action to perform. You can also specify an optionally a resolution, and you can add one or more hyperlinks. These hyperlinks add a role and a link. The link can also contain environment variables. For example, here I use build URL. And then you can also create a new work item, specifying the title of new work item, the type, and the Polarion project ID where to create it. Here again, you can add hyperlinks, one or more hyperlinks. And then you can generate test runs in Polarion. You can specify the path of tests and then the Polarion project ID, where to create them. Again, you can also add one or more of them. And this entire configuration can also be duplicated with another task. For example, you can select build unstable and perform some different actions if the build is unstable or if the build failure and so on. So you can have different configurations depending on the build result. Okay. We can view here Jenkins, the global configuration of Jenkins. At the bottom of the page, we can configure many servers of Polarion, specifying the server name, the address, and the credentials with username and password. Okay, so let me check if it's all okay. Well, we can switch to the Polarion tab, and we can view this work item of type release. It has a custom field called Jenkins job, where we can specify the job to trigger, in this case the demo job, and at the status change we can launch the build. Now I will perform the action start build and then save the work item. Okay, switching to the Jenkins page, we can view a new build. We can open the console output of builds and view the output log. So we have arrived in test. In fact, now we will open Firefox and check. This is the first test on the Polarion page. The second one, try to navigate some links in the website. And the third one is about the size of an image in the website. Waiting for it. Okay. Well, the build is finished. Now checking the log, we can view that is a demo Selenium build. This is the project. In the test section, we can view that it performed 3 tests. One failure. In fact, the last one failed because it expected a specific size of an image, but what's smaller. Then the build success, because only the tests are failures. And then we have archiving artifacts. Here PJ starts and match found for this string. There are test failures because it found the string in the output log, and then the build success. So the logical operation result is true, and then the plugin can start. Here we have some information about the connection, and then here we try to perform the action failure on the work item. Settings the hyperlink, and then it starts the test import. So he has found one test, and it successfully imported, and then it creates a one test run. So switching the tab in Polarion, refreshing the page, we can view that the work item changes its status in build failed. And down the page, we can view that it has an hyperlink with all external reference and a link that if you click on it, you can download the artifact specified. The first part of this link is the build URL variable that contains also the number of build. This was the 42 build. Here we have 3 test cases, one from each test performed, and the last one has also a defect related because it was failed. Here in the test run section, we can view the test run failed because free text has been executed, but only 2 pasted. One is failed. Scrolling down, we can view the message of failed because it's a Java lang assertion error, and the sites don't use the one expected. So the demo is finished, and thank you for watching.
Okay, thank you, Simone. I pass the command to Giangiacomo again for the FARO application.
Okay, thank you, Marcella. This presentation will be about another product from Emerasoft that is called Faros. The FARO is the light, it's a sea light basically, and it was developed to understand better the usage of SDN, the usage of license of Polarion, the usage of all the write on the SDN, and the commits and the status of a repository and all the stuff like that. So I have a little slide, I guess, for FARO. Yes, this is the one. And basically, it's a Web 2.0 monitoring tool where it's possible to take a look at the subversion performances and transactions, and to get all the bottleneck that could happen in our repository. All the information that you will see can be exported in Excel files or CVS to be exported back in database, or to create some dashboard and schema and all the stuff like that. Particularly with the Emerasoft FARO, you can measure also your performance on Polarion and of course on Subversion, and check if there are some bottlenecks, some issue, and something like that. So the interface is quite easy. This is the interface. I'll just increase a little bit. It's divided in 4 pieces, in 4 sections. The first one is the write monitor, then the read monitor, the commits monitor, and the users monitor. So if I click on one of them, the interface will show us all the log that Subversion made about the time that the write on Subversion has taken for the time, for example. For this specific revision, I can know that it took some time, and I can also get the specific information about the revision, what file has been affected, and stuff like that. The same for the read monitor, and the commit monitor is quite different, but because here I can take a look day by day on the commits on my server. For example, if I take a look on this one, I can know which kind of commits I got on my server. For example, as you can see, the bar where are very a little, basically a weekend, and some other one like the blue bar on the 28th is a Friday when Polarion works a lot. And all the other information like at the red bar are basically the commits on the SVN, so something like source code or something like that. All this information I can also have an overview on a PNG image and JPEG image. I can download it as a PDF and I can print, of course. So the fourth one is the Polarion user monitor. From here, I can see all the status of my licensing in Polarion, and it's great because from here I can see all the information about the users that are logged in, logged out, which kind of license they used, and the peak of licenses that were used in the specific moment. And of course, I can also pick up some other monitor log file to get in the past all my information. Also from this interface, you can export all the CSV information.
Thank you, Giangiacomo. Thank you, Simone. Come back to the slide. Okay. Okay, I am not a technician, but what I understood from these presentations is that if you use Polarion and other tools separately, like Enterprise Architect or Jenkins, you can do without these connectors. And as regards the last application, that is FARO, it's a very nice tool to take under control all your repositories. Okay, I remember that all the presentations, both the video and the content will be available on our Emerasoft channel on YouTube, and the slides will be published on the Slideshare Emerasoft channel. I remind you that you can ask everything you want to the connectors at Emerasoft.com. I think there are some questions about the plugins. Okay, Michael asks us what if Jenkins is on a different server than Polarion? Simone,
Okay.
Can you?
Well, in Polarion there is the file of properties, that contains all of properties for the PJ configurations. Here you can specify the server address of Jenkins and all other parameters useful for the Jenkins connection. So yes, you can contact a different Jenkins server than Polarion.
Okay, thank you, Simone. I hope we answered to the question. Okay. If there are some questions, I please you to write us. And thank you for your attention, and see you the next time and the next webinar.